Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So again we have more news about the new Switch, that is rumored. Up until now there is no official announcement of this console and it is said to have an OLED screen, and now we have even more news by Takashi Mochizuki and Ian King. And by the way, Mochizuki is the one who predicted the Switch Lite, which saw the light. So yeah, but what we see here is a very interesting piece of news. To be completely honest, I think that is a little bit too ambitious to say what Nintendo is aiming for. I don't think it's realistic. I will explain why. But first, let us just read what's in there and then we'll discuss it. So here the key points is that NVIDIA system on chip will also add more memory and CPU upgrade, which is good. The CPU certainly does need an upgrade for the new console to be, performing better, especially in the frame rate department. And it says that Nintendo's console refresh targeting year-end shopping season, which means holiday 2021. And the article here says that Nintendo plans to adopt an upgraded NVIDIA chip with better graphics and processing for a new Switch model planned for the year-end shopping season, according to people familiar with the matter. What is even more interesting that it's going to have DLSS. Like, wow, super wow. DLSS on a new Nintendo Switch. That could be really awesome, even though I don't think it's going to be the case. And of course, they say here the OLED display. They talk also about 4K quality when plugged to TV, all of those bells and whistles. And then also says this company's new chipset will also bring a better CPU and increased memory. And then, of course, the DLSS will require new code to be added to games. That's one key thing there. Is first that DLSS works best with the new RTX cards, so that is super high end. And second, even if it has that ability, even if we see a Switch with that ability to have DLSS, developers will need to do a lot of work in order to include DLSS, and then we don't even know, is it going to be DLSS 1.0 or 2.0? I think DLSS 2.0 should be the realistic approach here, if and only if this piece of news is true, because like I said, we should take it with a huge grain of salt. And seeing the PC market right now, even with DLSS 2.0 and with ray tracing that are included in the graphics cards as an ability or a possibility, we don't see so many games enjoying that kind of state-of-the-art technology when it comes to gaming. So yeah, and then here we have a quote. It says, quote, "The move should couple more support to the platform from outside software developers. Thus, it's definitely a big plus to hardware and software sales." And this is from Morningstar research analyst Kazunori Ito, and he carries on, quote, "Nintendo is learning well from mistakes in the past. When its hit Wii lost momentum so quickly because the console wasn't compatible with high-end definition resolution." Kinda makes sense because, the Wii was a super successful console that a lot of people bought. It was one of those consoles that weren't used a lot, but that kind of craze actually died quickly, and then came the Wii U, which wasn't that successful at all. And they're talking about a console that is $349.99. It says it will increase the value proposition of the device, but I still think Nintendo can drive strong demand even at $399.99. Could be if it has that kind of DLSS and if it has really good resolution. But from the other article from Bloomberg itself, there is only talk about 720p resolution. So yeah, it's not really that big of a jump. And I don't know if people are going to pay $400 for the new Switch. We will need to wait and see. And like I said, I don't think this is reasonable to think that the new Nintendo Switch or the Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it, is going to have DLSS, is going to have features that are basically in RTX cards. We know that these features are still very expensive, so it will be difficult to make them unless, NVIDIA comes with new chip that is unprecedented, unheard of, and it will be exciting to know more about this. But again, take this with a grain of salt and keep your expectations low so that you don't get very disappointed. I think a new Nintendo Switch or Switch Pro is going to be inevitable. It's going to happen. But how powerful is it? And what tricks does it have in its sleeve? What kind of performance does it have? All of these things still remain unclear. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave your comments down below and tell us, do you think that it is possible to have DLSS in a console like the Switch? And do you think it's going to be beneficial, especially that the screen is, really small, like 7 inches, is not that big? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you again soon. Have a good one.